love it, we 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 love it, everything's fine.
I'm very excited about welcoming my guest this week. You will know her from being a comic at all the top comedy clubs around London, as well as LA, where she has been on bills with Anthony Jeselnik, Mickey Glazer, Ali Wong. She's also soon to be seen on Comedy Central with her Comedy Central set and stand-up sketch show. But I know her from being my most beloved partner in crime on Don't Tell Comedy, the London chapter, and my comedy best friend and comedy wife, the one and only Katie Green. Hi! How you doing?
He's like, dude.
I know. Yeah, the editors just sat there like, How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really well. More importantly, I mean, you've just flown in from California.
Yes.
So how are you feeling unhinged?
I'm feeling like, oh yeah, because we were talking about I've stopped taking birth control.
When did you stop taking?
So I stopped taking it actually before the flight. I was like, oh, I don't have any.
You just bat yourself on the flight.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm a free agent. And like, I guess that's no more birth control for me.
Did you bat yourself on the Mile High Club?
Did I?
I'm gonna come off birth control and I'm gonna make this shit happen.
No,
I'm gonna really finish this trip off in style. I'm gonna come home pregnant.
No, every time I go on a plane, I'm like, how do people have sex on this? I feel disgusting.
I don't understand it because those toilets are like nauseating. Like, I don't think there's any time you can go to the loo during the course of a flight and it not smell like just urine everywhere. So who's going in and being like, oh, fucking yeah.
But also, like, who's going in and, like, there's not some old man waiting to go in? Like, you know what I mean? Like, who's going in two at a time?
Yeah, but I've waited outside a loo before, a plane loo, and been like, there have to be two people having sex in here. It's taking such a long time. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, when you're waiting out there for such a long time that you're like, if you haven't made triplets by now, then I don't know what's happened in there.
No, so I think because sometimes I spend a long time in the bathroom just to get away from whoever I'm next to.
No, absolutely. Yeah, you're right.
You know,
that's a real testament to the kind of people you sit next to. If you would rather sit in like a den of urine than whoever you get sat next to on planes.
The couple I was sat next to on the way back here was just the whitest couple you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to teach their kid Spanish when they don't know Spanish themselves.
Did you die?
It was the worst. Like, honey, get your zapatos. Get your zapatos. Those are your No tocas. No tocas the screen there. No.
People are so weird with kids.
Yeah. Really.
Not like us. We're fucking organic.
Oh my God.
How are you with Ollie? Ollie is Katie's best boy in the whole wide world.
My sister left the day I'm leaving. I had to pack and whatever, but I really want to get ice cream as per usual.
Mm-hmm.
And
with 10 minutes before the flight left.
Yeah. And my sister's like, okay, well, I can leave you with Ollie and you can go walk over there and then go for a walk or whatever. And I'm like, okay. And so she leaves me in the stroller and she's like, are you gonna be okay? And I'm like, yeah, I think I'll be fine. Okay, are you gonna be okay? I'm like, yeah, I'll be fine. And so I'm strolling over, me and him, and I'm like, da, 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 da. There she is, driving. Hey!
She drove next to you?
Yeah, driving.
Oh,
hey! And I'm like, I thought you had to go to work. No, I'm just strolling by. You know, it's on the way. And I'm like, okay. She's like, oh, I drove to the ice cream van. It's still there. Oh my God. And I'm like, well, you could have fucking drove us. You could have drove us to the ice cream van and then came back. Okay. I'm like, you are a smother mother.
Oh my God. Had you already taken him to get his ears pierced from big gold boots?
Yeah.
A little teardrop tattoo. Just be like, I think it suits him. Which I think takes us seamlessly onto my first question for you, which is obviously this whole podcast is about unhinged things that we've done and we do, and how we live. In your life, has there ever been a time when to everyone on the outside you've made a completely unhinged decision? Like you've made a decision that looks bananas from the outside, but actually you yourself have been like, no, this is 100% the right thing. This is what I want to do, and you've been correct.
I'm not correct often. I'd say. I think probably moving out here was something that people were like, what are you doing?
Because you have some family here, don't you?
I have some extended family here. Yeah.
And your grandpa's English.
And my grandpa's English.
Yeah.
So I've always had a connection with the UK, and I've always been like, I wanted, like, if you'd met me at most points in my life, you'd have known that I wanted to move here.
And what was it? What was the thing about the UK that you were like,
I
that's
think
what want?
I don't know. I'd say Harry Potter.
Right,
That
no,
was the reason that
So it's
I'm
working.
like, yeah. And there was just something I was like, I think I've always just wanted to move though.
Yeah.
I've always
What
liked
time of your life were you at when you moved to the UK? Because you've done it a couple of times, haven't you?
Yeah. The time I was in LA and it was not fun. Like I'd just finished my second master's degree, or no, my first master's degree. And I was like, what do I do now?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I just move.
Hogwarts.
Yeah, Hogwarts. Yeah.
I've done this master's.
Yeah.
Let's see what fucking Hogwarts has in store. Really close to your heart.
Wait,
Like,
it's
just
so
stumble
weird because I
over it.
started rewatching it yesterday, and I yesterday
On the plane or just for like?
no on this just because it's now on the UK Netflix, and I was like, as soon as I landed, I was like, oh my god,
That's so good.
and it felt really weird pressing the play button because it was such a massive part of my life,
Mm-hmm.
and then I've gone away from it because it's like it took up so much time and money and energy.
Discuss this. In what way? Like
I
you
was
just bought-
obsessed. I was obsessed.
Okay.
I flew over.
For Hogwarts. No.
I flew over. When for the last premiere of Deathly Hallows Part 2, I flew over and waited in Trafalgar Square
Just to see them go in.
just to see them.
So you didn't have tickets to the
I didn't have a
film?
ticket.
No.
I bought a ticket for the midnight showing at Leicester Square.
Missed it, didn't you?
No, I got there and they're
Alright.
like, "You booked for Leicester." I'm like, "What's the difference?"
So you,
I had no
did you
idea.
book for Leicester, the town?
Leicester Town.
And you'd heard of Leicester Square Theatre?
Yeah, and I'm like, "Oh, I wonder why."
Can we just take a minute? How depressing. Do you think the midnight showing of the 6th Harry Potter would be in Leicester Town?
It was the 8th.
All I want to do is see the midnight in Leicester. You just booked it for Leicester.
I wondered why the ticket was £3. I was like, why is everyone? I met the people, the rest of the people.
You're like, I'm going to be around all the stars.
Yeah,
in Leicester.
wow, everyone's here.
£3, what a bargain!
Yeah, what a
It wasn't
bargain.
£3, was it? Because you spent $1,000 on your flight.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I waited.
is-
I waited out there for so long in Trafalgar Square because they moved to Trafalgar Square and they walked over to the.
yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
we all know it.
Yeah.
And I waited there. I got some people's autographs. I don't know. Who.
No. Yeah, just some of the
No,
extras.
but I saw
Yeah.
Rupert Grint there. I'm obsessed. I was obsessed with Rupert Grint. Yeah, wait. So I was telling you that watching that Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Because yesterday I went on a little splurge of.
Mm-hmm.
I've started inviting every person that I used to date to my birthday, my 30th birthday.
Right. Do you feel like this is actually?
I feel like this is gonna.
This
I'm gonna
is
do.
your most unhinged.
I'm gonna. Yeah. This is. It's gonna be like The Bachelorette
Why have you done this?
because I think I'm realizing that my eggs are dying.
So you're doing the
And
recycle loop.
I'm recycling.
I'm on people's recycle loop. I don't recycle loop, but I'm on people's recycle loop. So every time there's certain points of boys who I know when they've got single because they're like,
Yeah.
hey, long time
Hey.
have you? And you're like, oh, fucking
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. But now
So
I'm
you're
ready.
doing it.
I'm doing it, and I'm putting them all in one room, and I'm saying, "Look, fight for me," or
This could be
I'll be so upset.
they could fight for you, or they could all get together and like unite, like a union.
No, you know what? Because they'd all never really admit to being with me. So that's what they
That's
all have
so
in
perfect.
common.
So actually, they would all be in invisibility.
They'd- yeah.
because you head towards people who will not
yeah.
recognize that they're with you whatsoever
Yeah.
at all, which is still remarkable to me. And actually, I have to say, quite comforting as someone who isn't a 10, that even people like you, that people are like, I'm not going to tell anyone I'm fucking, like, it was always, do you remember when Elizabeth Hurley got pregnant and she was like, this guy's the dad, that Bing guy, and he was like, no, it's absolutely not me. And you're like, what man is denying sleeping with Elizabeth Hurley? Like, what kind of a person is like, couldn't have been me, wouldn't have done it? And you're like,
Yeah.
astonishing. The
Uh-huh.
audacity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you'd just be like, yeah, I would. I'd be like, yeah, I did it 100%.
Yeah.
She picked me. She let me touch her.
Yeah.
This guy was like, no, I absolutely wouldn't have done that. And you're like, oh, what? But I feel like that. So it's quite a comforting story to hear, you know, from down here in the sewers. But so actually your exes would all be there like, Katie, never met her actually.
Yeah, they'd be like, I don't even know why I'm
just here for free food. I don't. Katie Greed? No.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a good from you.
Yeah, this will be fun.
Do you feel like you're worried you're doing that because you're worried you're going to have too good a time at your party, so you want to make it a bit worse?
No, I you know what? I really think this is not taking the birth control. I'm looking at you know me. I'm usually like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like, ugh. Like yesterday, I was speaking to this guy.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you the name later, and you're gonna be like,
oh no.
Oh no. And he was talking in a group, and I realized I was biting my lip while he was speaking, and he caught me, and he was like,
hungry eyes.
Yeah, I was like, "Arr." And I was like, oh, oops. And then usually I'm like, I hope he doesn't think he likes me. But then yesterday I was like, I hope he thinks I like him.
And just started getting a bit of this.
Yeah. I'm like, hey.
Jesus.
Wow.
And I bet he's horrendous looking.
Oh,
isn't
yeah.
He? Absolutely horrendous looking.
You're
I'm
gonna slap me in the face.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is one of my most favourite things is your irrational loves. You're like, so I can't say there's nothing. The amount of times Kate would be like, oh my God, so what about, and you're like, the guy with the gammy eye and 3 legs and 8 nipples and like hair growing out of his nostrils, and she's like,
he's so talented.
He's so talented. There's oh my God, it's remarkable to me. You'd be chaos on The Bachelorette.
Oh yeah.
Do you imagine they'd have lined up all these studs and you'd be like, there's a guy in the corner down there. I think he's a homeless guy by the store that we bought. Like, it'd be chaos.
Wait, is that a gardener?
But I think that's the gnome. That's a gnome in the garden. That's the garden gnome. Be like, oh my God, he's saying, Okay, so whilst you're most unhinged, why do you think people from the outside thought you moving to London was
unhinged? Well, because people were like, you've moved from the best city. You've moved from Los Angeles.
Yeah.
You were in the best place you could ever be. And I'm like, not really, though.
Yeah.
Because LA is the worst place I didn't feel right. I'm like, I don't fit in. It's like, I was so, like, warped up in this lifestyle that I really liked basketball players, and I'd go to the club, and like I would be like one of those. Sometimes I would go and be that, you know, the girls that sit in the club. You know those girls. This is how I'd sit. I don't know why.
You'd be like, I can't imagine how organic and effortless you fitted into those places. Be like, I'd be one of the girls who sits in the club. You just sit in the club. Like, the idea of you sitting there being one of the girls who sits in the club. Like,
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then, like, the Spice Girls would have come on, you'd gone fucking ballistic and ruined it all, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I'd ruined it all.
Completely. So were you one of those girls who got like free drinks at tables?
Yeah. And it was the most worst.
Right.
It was bad. It was.
Why did you? So what was it? So did you get asked to come in and be one of those girls?
Yeah. So like some promoters, they you like find promoter, you'd go to party and then they'd be like, oh, like, do you want to go to this party? And it'd just be like. One time there was like a dinner before with all the other girls, and I was like, "Oh, like let's
all the other girls are
let's get the people who don't speak at all for dinner. Let's have dinner with them. Yay, this will be fun. Like, oh, like
did you all just sit at dinner like?
Yeah, it was the most like, and it was like one of those, you know, the small dinners.
The small dinners. Yeah. You hate those.
I hate them. And I was like, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know who I am. I'm like, I'd go to Mike's and I'd be like, what the fuck? I don't know anything. And I'm like, England was it. And people, when I moved here, people were like, why are you here?
Yeah, we're like that.
Yeah. And I'm like, that's fair.
Yeah. Did you ever think about being one of those girls who sits in clubs in London?
No,
it's not a good look.
No,
actually. And also they're 15. Like, we used to do. I used to get dragged along because my friends did it when we were like 15, 16.
Are they really?
Yeah, I look back at it. We were so young going to all these clubs and yeah.
Clubbing in the UK is like the people.
It's also grosser, I think.
Yeah,
like, it's gross. It's young girls, and then it's really
and
it's
like,
a really
there's
weird
something about the
cross-section.
outfits that really put me off that people wear. Like,
how do you think it's different?
The lashes so
These guys
so big.
Yeah,
and that just. And people drink so much more. Like I mean,
it's sloppy.
It's really
sloppy. Like you're sitting in a club for about an hour,
like
and then
kind
you're
of
falling
scary
over in a club.
sloppy. Yeah. It's like not.
No, I know.
Because I know can't remember the last time I've been really drunk.
I can. Wasn't it in Edinburgh?
Oh yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
I remember that because I got a phone call and I remember being just so out of character and you like, but
Oh,
you
wow.
felt you had a good time
God.
the next day. Do you
Oh,
remember the
yeah.
next day? That wasn't your best self.
What did I do?
You were sad. Do you remember
Oh,
the
I
next
was
day?
sad.
Yeah, yeah. That's because you went. No, you got McCanned.
Oh, I remember
Yeah.
that, and I've never drank that much again.
No, because he did, it's his fault.
Yeah.
Katie and I, our mutual best friend Aaron McCann, is actually, I'd say a war criminal when it comes to nights out. The last night I had out and I was slammed was McCann.
Yeah.
And we all know what happened then.
Yeah, we all know what
We all know what
happened.
happened then. R.I.P.
Yeah.
But you can't go out with it. We can't go out with them anymore.
Yeah. I'm
unless
really
it's
worried
tea.
for my party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, maybe we just asked him to leave after 2 hours. Like he has, you know how some people at weddings, you get them to come after a certain point, you come for the evening, McCann will be like, can you just come for the start and then can you go home?
Yeah.
That'd be all right.
No, that'd be great. That'd be great.
So now do you think, do you feel like the move to London paid off? Are you like, no,
Yes
it looked
and
unhinged forever, but
no.
like it paid off?
Yes. Yeah. I like my life better
Do you
here.
feel more at home in London than you did in LA?
Yeah. Yes and no.
Okay.
I think I feel more alone here.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think everyone in London feels more.
Yeah.
Than here. I think that might be what we offer. I think that should actually be London's tag. Is like, come to London, home to fucking no one,
Yeah.
and everyone at the same time.
Yeah.
I think that's the deal. Maybe we should be called a London.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
That's great.
That's clip it.
Yeah.
That was genius.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hashtag.
Yeah.
Because LA's lonely, but I had like my friends there because I just come from college. So it was like I'd have people that, you know, those people in LA. It was like when you wanted to get something to eat, you can hit someone up and go to eat right now.
Yeah.
And I'll pick you up in 5, whatever. Cool. Whereas here, like you have to plan. You have to like I moved to a place where I'm like I don't know anyone around.
Yeah.
Like I moved to a geographic place where I'm like this will be close to the guy that I'm talking to and never visited. And I'm like
No.
okay, well this maybe I should move
Did he
on
live
his
in
street.
Leicester?
No,
Is this what you did again? He lives in Leicester, so
I'll
you
never
moved.
forget that Odie and
No, I don't think any of
Leicester.
us will. Have you? Okay.
But yeah, I think it's I think I have more unhinged moments that are people are like you shouldn't have done that and I shouldn't have. You know
Okay.
what
So
I mean?
what do you think those are? What are your
God,
top
I fucking-
rosters?
the biggest, one time I remember in college I was just like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
But I would in that moment I'd be like, this is it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I remember one time I went to a club. There was this club I used to go to. And I used to really like this guy, and it's, you know, he'd go there, and sometimes like he'd be like, "Oh, I'll meet you there," and sometimes he just wouldn't show up.
Mm-hmm.
And this was one of those times.
That's
so I was
fine.
at the club by myself, expecting to see
with your
him.
binoculars.
Yeah, with my
Yeah, yeah,
binoculars,
yeah. Harry Potter ones.
and I think I must have been by myself because I don't.
Which in and of itself is a good look as well. Like
Oh, yeah.
standing in a club by yourself
Well,
looking for someone you have a crush on is always a good feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but you know when you do it in like a sultry way, you're
Yeah,
like,
oh,
oh,
big
I'm
time.
looking for someone.
I
I'm not-
believe you could do it.
Yeah.
I remember trying to do that at uni, and like I remember his name, like Tom, and I had such a crush on him. And he was so tall, so I was always like, I can at least see him. But I don't think I've ever been sultry a day in my life. So you'd be stunned that like, you're not. Obviously, had like 11 T4 Bacardi breezers, just being like. Hannah used to come over, Hannah, my best mate, used to come over and be like, fucking just
Too much.
stop. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, no, I can feel it. He's anywhere. He's absolutely close. I can go home and never leave the house again. But I believe you pulled off.
Yeah,
sultry.
I'd walk around like
Did
I
you
was
be like
looking,
this?
like I was like, you know, I had a reason to be there,
Yeah.
and
Which was because you had to sit like this.
yeah.
Yeah.
and I was there, and there's this guy who kept on looking at me, and I'd just be like, ugh, stop looking at me. And then every time I'd circle around again, still looking for that guy, this guy would keep on like he was kind of like circling around, kept looking at me. Then finally he came up to me, and then we started talking, and then we like started dancing, and I was like, oh, it's a vibe. But then everyone kept on coming up to him, like, oh hey, like, and I'm like, oh my God, like, you have a lot of friends here or what? And he's like, well, I mean, I play for the Lakers. I'm like, oh my God, well, you should have opened with that. I would have not circled around so many damn times.
Looking for the rat in a bin that I was actually here for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looking for the
Yeah,
man I
he plays
dug out of the
for
ground who I've actually
fucking-
decided I'm in love with. I love.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh my God. And then so it was coming to the end of the night, And we were like, oh, let's go for like a walk because we were like in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
And we go
That's
to
a good time to go for a walk.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think 3
yeah.
a.m. after.
And like we walked to the beach. I'm like, oh my god, this is so romantic.
So
We're going to the
romantic.
beach at night,
Oh, no.
and then there's cockroaches everywhere.
Yeah.
And then we get to like the end of the sand, and then we're both like, oh wait, I'm like, I don't like sand. He's like, I don't like sand. And I'm like, oh my god.
So you got to the end of the sand.
We got
by this
to
point.
the beginning.
Oh right, okay, so you got to the right, like the
pavement
water's
meets
edge,
the-
and
yeah.
be like, I have to tell you, I've hated the last 15 minutes of my life.
Yeah,
like,
no,
so
we
much.
haven't even set foot
Fine,
on the
okay,
sand.
fine, good.
On the sand, and we were always like, I'm like, oh my god, we're like so much in common. We both hate sand. Like, who hates sand? No one hates sand. Just us two in this world of the Lakers. And I'm like, oh my god. And then so I live closer to like Santa Monica.
To the sand, yeah.
And I was.
Yeah, because you love it.
And it was like to the end of the night, I was like, I'm like, you can come over to mine, but like nothing's gonna happen. Like absolutely nothing's gonna happen. And he
Said no one to any Lakers player ever. Never has he heard that
I'm
in
like,
his life.
nothing's gonna happen because I was celibate. I was celibate for 3 years.
But that was by choice, wasn't it? It's not like how I'm celibate.
Right, it was
Yeah,
by
yeah, it's
choice.
by
It was
choice.
by
Yeah,
God,
yeah, yeah.
God's choice.
God's choice.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And so we came back to mine, and I'm sure he thought something was gonna happen, but
Because
then
he
like,
plays the Lakers.
yeah,
Yeah.
And he came into my room.
I think something happens to him if he goes to the grocery store. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
for sure. After
Yeah.
a romantic walk in Santa Monica, he was like, I'll probably at least get one digit.
Yeah. He walked into my room, and
I know. Oh my god, I know what I'm about to say.
my pillowcases were matching Shrek and Fiona. Massive, not just like it was like a real like fucking like real photo of Shrek. Like, and also real like Fiona, like one was Shrek, one from Fiona. They're like looking at each other like
In a double bed. So you're
In a double bed.
So Shrek and Fiona
Shrek
in
and
the double
Fiona
bed looking at each other.
looking at each other like full on like just, and not like cartoon. Like they
No,
were
the
like
real ones. Yeah, good.
Shrek. And then I had a massive alligator on my bed that I've slept with forever. And then I had probably about 6 or 7 Build-A-Bear. And I think as soon as he got, I had a pygmy puff, a massive pygmy puff, which if you know Harry Potter, it was massive, about the size of my head.
So at this point, you took him home to a 9-year-old girl's bedroom.
I know. I would say 9-year-old boys.
Yeah, no,
it was because I had a basketball somewhere, like a basketball hoop.
That's good.
Like,
Don't tell me you felt at home then.
yeah,
Yeah, good.
And I had one of those. I had a double mirror, and I used to write like quotes on it or whatever, like Bible verses. Oh yeah, a massive when you walk.
Sorry, don't say quote and then it be Bible verses. They'll be like, I used to write quotes on it. Bible verses, Paul,
Yeah,
2, 3.
Philippians
Like,
4:13. No big deal. We all know
women
it.
write stuff on their mirrors being like, be better, believe in yourself, have value. You're like, never open your legs to anybody.
I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. No big deal. I had a massive when you walk into
NBD, said Christ.
you're
Lol,
beautiful.
said John.
Yeah, you are beautiful. Not in the Bible. Not said in the Bible. Nowhere in the Bible. You are beautiful. Believe in yourself. And not said.
Okay, so you brought this Lakers play back to
and then
your
when you walked into my room, it was a massive sign, and it said, "Praise the Lord." Praise the Lord. Like it was massive. It was massive. And I'm like, if that doesn't turn him off, these Shrek pillows will. And then like, so I had all those writings on my board, and like he's like signed his name, and he
Under Christ.
Yeah, of course, obviously. And like he wrote like his Bible, like his like favorite Bible verse.
He wrote
because
his
he was
favorite
very
Bible-
religious as well, which I'm like, oh, I nailed it.
Had you sorted that out on your non-sandy walk?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And I'm like, oh my God, this is great. And we had a lovely night of like, just cuddling and like really, really Christian. And
That's so Christian. Yeah. As Shrek and Christ would have had it.
Yeah. It's really PG-13. No, PG. Yeah, it was great. And then the next day I was like so in love. I was like, oh my God, what a great guy. What a God-fearing man. What a beautiful, beautiful man. And I was obsessed with him. And then so we started speaking and whatever and chatting. And then like, it was like a normal amount of chat. But like for me, it was like, we're in
This
love.
was marriage, yeah.
Yeah, because he saved my number in his phone as wifey. And in
But
my...
did it have a number after it?
No,
Oh,
none.
right, yeah, wifey,
No.
just wifey.
Yeah, just
Okay.
wifey.
Okay, wow.
And in my phone, I saved him as hubby. And he's still as hubby now.
That's
He
fine.
changed his number, but he's still
Yeah,
there.
sure, no,
Yeah.
I figure, yeah.
Anyways, so we go. So we're speaking, and then he tells me he's gonna go back to the club the next weekend or whatever with his, he's like
So
a
you
big,
could go again and just swivel.
well, no. So he said because I think we were trying to figure out the next time to hang out, and I think we hung out. I can't remember the timeline. I think we might have hung out once.
Yeah.
I went to his place. It was nice, whatever.
But no Shrek duvet.
No,
That's
it was
rubbish.
very clean
Yeah.
and just very.
Gross.
Oh, I was messy as well, and he
Oh, we
was.
know you're messy.
We know,
Yeah,
It was really. He was really put off because he was really clean, and I was like, I cleaned my room.
I moved the alligator to the edge.
I made a swamp for him.
I dusted my Christ mirror for you.
I hate my life. And
This
then
is
so
incredible.
I was obsessed with him. And then so he said he was going to the club, but it was for like a special event, or like his friend's birthday, and
Okay.
it was like college friends or something like that. It was like wasn't like a bring a date thing. And I was like, okay, sure, I'll go.
Yeah.
And I wasn't invited. He was very much so like you.
That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're doing, but
Yeah.
I'm going here, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, and then I get the Uber, I go there, and in the whole Uber, I'm like, you know, when you just find the one, you know, when you just, I'm
good.
telling the Uber driver, I'm like, he's the one. There's just like we both don't like sand, and we have so much in common. And we're just in love, you know, when you just, you know, and the Uber driver's like,
At
I don't
the same
know.
time, you're calling him on repeat, and it's just going straight to voicemail. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
And then
good.
no response.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this is the one. So bye, Uber driver. Next time you see me, I'll be in love.
See you never.
Yeah. Next time, wait out here, and you'll pick us up after he proposes to me.
Ready to drive to Vegas?
And I get there, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" Like, I'm with like my college friends. Like it was very
like, no, we're with your college
Yeah.
friends.
And I was like, wait, aren't you excited to see your wifey? Hello. And it was like, it was crazy. He was like, he's like, no, like, I'm like, this is
No,
like,
I'm out.
I'm out with
Yeah.
like it was like, they were like at like, you know, it was like all their friends, all his whatever. And people were like, oh, hi. And it was like awkward. It was so awkward.
What did you do?
I don't remember what I did. I think I probably laughed and texted him like, I can probably find the text, but
Probably.
I
You've got it. Okay.
yeah, I never delete anything. I've every
No.
text ever sent.
Would you send an angry text, or would you have been?
I
like,
probably would have sent an angry text.
Yeah, I figure.
But then we hung out still,
Okay.
which was very surprising.
Sure.
like,
but listen.
Yeah, he got a cat, and then so I got a cat.
Yeah. But that is
Yeah,
famously how people get together.
Yeah. He had a cat. And
You have
then-
initial chemistry, and then one of you gets a house pet, and the other one matches
Yeah,
it.
I was like, oh, I have a cat too.
Oh my
Wow,
God.
this is
It's
crazy.
like dragging this thing in off the street. There's actually a raccoon. Like, I have one too.
Yeah,
So it's not a cat.
I think I just wanted to like,
You wanted your Shrek.
yeah, I wanted my Shrek. Yeah.
And how did that end, Katie?
It ended. I guess we stopped speaking, and
Yeah.
but then we met up one time. He came. He transferred teams, and he came and practiced at UCLA where I still was. And he's like, oh, meet me by the bus, and like it was his whole team.
And he just put you on it.
Yeah, and I bye, and I'm like, thank God. But I was. You know what I liked about him is like I was full on crazy. I was like as crazy as you could. Like I'm turned out. I was crazy, and he was still like, oh well, she's nice. Yeah,
That is amazing because
Yeah.
they call crazy at nothing.
yeah,
They call crazy at little. And when actually you went there and he was like, oh, she's got a really good Christ-loving heart.
but I think this was before I feel like in college I got away with stuff like that, but in this day and age I don't get away with much.
No, we don't get away with anything.
No.
What did your friends say when you told them the story? Like at the time, were people like, Katie, I think maybe we should intervene? Or were they like, no, live your truth?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Americans would be like, no, I love that you put your heart on your sleeve and you chase
No,
down
people
love.
were like, you did
You
what?
have to stop. Okay, right.
People were very much so like, what?
Do you think you've ever gone into a loving relationship and everyone around you's been like, this feels safe and good?
No,
And Katie,
no. All my
Yeah.
friends have always
Been
been
like-
like, this guy's,
It's not it.
this is it now?
Yeah. Yeah, it is uncanny how you
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
Which is actually a really nice segue because obviously one of the double entendres, thank you, of Unhinged is obviously the dating apps and the dating world of dating. Do you think, and I think I know the answer to this, do you think you've learned any great lessons from your time in the dating pool in the Shark Tank? What if someone was like, what have you learned? Or are you like, oh no, I'm not going to finish that. Go on.
I don't know. I feel like there's no way I can tell anyone what I've learned when I'm doing what I'm doing.
That's exactly the answer I thought you'd give.
That's like, there's no way.
That's the answer I fully support you giving, because as much as I laugh at that Shrek story with the Christ mirror, if you told me you did that last week, I'd have been like, no, 100% checks out. Like, yeah. Oh yeah, you did? The Shrek? Good. Like that checks out.
Yeah, I do. It's fucking psychotic stuff.
I know.
Like that, you remember that football player I met in the park?
I do.
Yeah.
Who had a name. Am I allowed to say it? Because it's not a real name.
I can't,
I remember exactly what. Mathan. I was like, so not Nathan? She was like, no, it's Mathan. I was like, obviously, you know that's not a name. Yeah? You were like, no, it's Mathan. I was like, again, I can't have you say Mathan any more times and me not comment on the fact that this guy has a name that no one's ever had. Are you sure he didn't say Nathan? And it wasn't. It was Mathan.
Yeah.
You picked a man with just a sound as a name.
Yeah.
And by the way, when you say he was playing football in the park, again, I need to emphasize he was not a football player who happened to be in the park. Just a guy doing keep-me-ups in the park, wasn't he?
I've had to lower my standards significantly.
You don't have to lower your standards. This is my point. You don't have to lower. You choose to lower your standards to the point of a madman doing keep-me-ups in the park with a non-name, and you're like,
I'd also like,
I'm gonna go over that.
He wasn't doing keep-me-ups. He was coaching a little kid.
It couldn't be worse than what you're about to say.
He had his own camp, and I asked him, I said, hello, do you train adults? Because I would like to work on my skill.
I can't.
Level.
You went over to a man who wasn't even an affiliated football coach, just a man who'd started a kids'
He had
football
cones.
camp.
He had
cones. Sorry, no, I didn't realize he had
was a
cones.
professional.
Mathan had his own cones. I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know Mathan had his own cones. And you went over to watch him coach, not officially, just a kid who he might also just have found, and were like, I want a bit of this. I want this in my life.
Yeah. I was like, this is it.
Unbelievable.
This is it.
How'd it go? Yeah.
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 I mean,
Didn't go well,
I
did it?
paid to date him. I paid to date him. I remember going and telling my friend, like, one of my closest friends who has I used to super love, and every time I see him now, he's kind of like, how's it going? I feel like he only hangs out with me for because he feels bad, and I'm like, so I met this guy in the park. He trained me for 2 sessions, and then we went on a date, and he was like, wait, the sessions. Wait, what do you mean? He trained you for free? I'm like, well, I mean free, 50 pounds, whatever. Oopsie.
You paid.
I paid 50 pounds.
Twice.
I paid 50 pounds twice.
You paid a man called Mathan £100 to teach you to do keep-me-ups in the park.
I had just got out of quarantine.
No, but Katie, there's lockdown and then there's that, which is in no one had a bad enough lockdown to warrant paying Mathan Mathan with the cones, £100 to teach you how to do keep-me-ups in the park.
He said I was really good for my age.
How old did he think you were?
He thought I was a lot younger than I am.
Oh my God, he thought you were a child.
He
thought you were a child. And so then he went on a date with you as a child.
So then,
that's good. Did you go to Shrek Adventures?
No, we didn't. We didn't.
No, you
we
did
didn't
try
have
that.
much in common. But when we went on the date, I made sure I ordered 100 pounds worth of stuff.
Did he pay?
Yes, but I was like, I
getting this back.
I got fancy stuff.
Okay, what fancy stuff did you get, Katie?
I had fish.
Was it fish fingers?
Yeah.
Yeah, right, okay. So we took you on a child's date.
Yeah. So he took me on a No, we went on a proper like date. It was so bad.
Right.
It was so bad. And
did you bring the cones?
He didn't bring the cones.
Right.
Yeah. I was rude on the date too. You know, I do that a lot. I'm like,
I know.
wait, I was like, how tall are you? And he's like 5'11". I'm like, you mean 5'8"?
Yeah, good. And then did you ask
I'm
him
like,
how much he earned?
No, I could tell he did. He's done well for himself.
Well, I'll say he has. He's got girls to pay to date him. He's got good-looking girls.
You know what?
Pay money to date him. This guy's a fucking genius. This is like Stephen Bartlett of Battersea. This is unbelievable.
I mean, look, the first session was good. I learned a lot. I learned a lot of skill,
about
a lot
yourself.
of passing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
Not about the depths you'd go to.
the depth I'd go to for.
No, that's really good.
You know, I just feel like I've always wanted to have like a cute story.
That isn't it.
No.
That
I thought it'd be cute. Like
Yeah,
we met in the park. I paid him money.
It's often not cute when I paid him money as the second sentence.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Do you know
You're
what
right.
I say this? I'm being really judgy. I remember one time I was in such a bad spot and I was just after a breakup and I was all a bit like, and it was at university, so I was all a bit, and this guy, this rugby player, obviously, because I was that was all I did.
Mm-hmm.
That was very much my USP, and I stuck pretty hard on that. And this rugby player took me out. We went for a first date that I'd organised that, may I say, was spotlessly executed and planned, and it was perfect. And then afterwards, I was like, well, this is going really well. I guess I was like, this is your turn to plan the second date because I planned this one so well. And he was like, yeah, okay. I've got a 2-for-1 gourmet burger kitchen card. Do you want to go there? And we did. And I slept with him afterwards. Off the back of a tube. He didn't even take me to Gourmet Burger Kitchen and then just happened to reveal he had a card. He took me there on the understanding that we were going there because he had a discount card. Still works.
He
And it
saves
worked.
money.
He saved, and I was
He's
like, I
frugal.
love that. He lets me know where I stand,
Yeah.
which is in the discount pile.
Yeah.
And I did it. And I was like, this is great.
I've never had a guy be chivalrous. I don't think I've ever had a guy who I'd be like, my mom would be proud.
Do you know, one time I had a guy put his arm out in front of me before we crossed the road, and I honestly nearly came because I thought it was so chivalrous.
That makes me
I was
like, I'm like,
oh, what am I, Princess Diana?
Yeah.
Like it was. I mean, that's a bad example because she could have done with that. Do you know what I mean? She could have done with someone being like, but I honestly couldn't believe it. He put his arm out in front of me, and I was like, husband.
Yeah.
Oh my God, my husband. My
That's
husband.
quite sexy.
That's where that is, but no, but it shouldn't be. This is the thing.
Yeah.
We should not think that is the pinnacle of chivalry.
Yeah.
Ultimately, a man just stopped witnessing a murder in front of his eyes. Like all he wanted was to not watch death. And I'm sat there being like, he loves me so much that he's willing to risk his arm. It's like, no, he wanted to get home quicker, and he wouldn't if you were dead under a van.
Right.
I know. What? Okay, so you haven't learned anything in dating, and I support that.
No, I
answer
said I don't
completely.
know. Everything I've learned in theory, but I've not done in practice.
Okay, what do you think is the thing that you're gonna like? What, you know, all those things on Instagram are like, you know, you've started healing when you're, you know, they say something stupid. What do you think when you're like, it's all these lessons are sitting pretty now. Like I'm really making some good decisions. What was that phrase we like told you about, that poem, that like loving with all my intelligence, which was what we were going to plan for this year. Was to start loving with all our intelligence. I would say it hasn't gone super well thus far for both of us. But it's only first half of the year, so we've still got time. What do you think loving with all your intelligence is going to look like?
God, I think it's like I beg a lot, or like I'm like, please love me.
So yeah.
And I think being in a point where I can love myself and like not feel like I need people's love.
Do you think you audition for it? Like, do you think you do the thing where you feel like you like someone and then you go, I'm going to really work so hard to get this role. I'm going to show them all the things I have and I can do. And
well, I mean, I had that bit where I would try to, it's equatable to like, I give someone a free subscription.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, you've got a week trial.
Yeah.
This is all you can have.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, I want more now. So you have to pay.
Yeah.
And they're like, no. And then I'm like, well, what if I give you this subscription for free and pay you?
Pay you. Yeah.
And that's how I date.
No, I know.
I pay them.
That's such a thing. And actually, we've been talking to so many people about this because we've talked about this. It's about the value system. And we're also, as female comedians, it's such an interesting one, because I had it last week, actually, where someone came in, they asked me to do a gig, and it's a nice big one that I'd really love to do. And they were like, just let me know your rate.
Right. Oh, I had that.
it's a nightmare. Like,
Yeah.
it's a literal nightmare.
What am I worth?
What am I worth?
Yeah.
Someone is literally turning around to you and saying, what are you worth? And I'm sat there like, I messaged the boys on that mix. I'm like, oh my God, what would you say? They all come back with these astronomical sums of money and are like, that's what it is, because that's what you're traveling, that's when you're going, that's what you got to prep, you got to do. Think about the getting home afterwards. And I was like, I was going to ask for half of it. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's such a tricky thing, that your value system and what you're basing it on and how you qualify it and why we're so bad at it.
Right.
But we do it with both. We do it with the love life stuff and the comedy stuff. Like, how many times have you been an unpaid middle 10 on a lineup where you're basically the only person not getting paid?
Yeah.
And never else is shit.
Well, also, I think it's getting to I think with comedy, I'm getting better at being like, no, I don't, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, yesterday, this guy was trying to vouch for me. He's like, yeah. And then the owner was like, oh, yeah, we can get you in for like a 10 on a Friday. And I'm like, I won't message you. In my head, I was like,
yeah,
I'm not going to message you. I'm not going to message you because I don't care.
Because I get another trial.
Yeah,
10.
I don't really, you're not that important to me. Sorry.
But
Yeah,
if some man crawled out the skip with all his teeth missing and were like, I'm going to audition you for an unpaid trial 10 as my girlfriend, you'd be like, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Well,
Stop.
that's where I'm like, that's where I have not gotten the confidence
No.
or the self-love to fully be like, I'm ready.
Do you think if you saw someone who was genuinely smoking hot and genuinely a good guy and genuinely had a good moral compass and genuinely like you respected and admired as a person, you wouldn't go near him?
Well, no, I think I'm just scared. I think I'm scared to be loved. So I just am always around people who don't feel reciprocation. Because I'm fine to love. Like, I love loving. Like, I'm just like, let's shower all the love. But then when it comes to them reciprocating, I'm like, oh my God, that's so scary to me.
Yeah.
That's really scary.
My therapist said something the other day where she was like, this thing about not making space for people. And I was like, no, I make loads of, like, my friends are the most important things. And I make so much time. Like, I'm absolutely people's 2 a.m. call. Like, I would do anything for them. And she was like, but they're in. Your friends are in. They're not going anywhere. They're so important to you. There's an argument that says, because of my absolute terror of being left or like not loved back or like, yeah, what if you, my thing is like, I was reading a book the other day and in it, these two people who were like absolute soulmates and absolutely together, they go through a really rough time and they break up. I cannot tell you how to put the book down. I was like, the idea of losing someone of that massive importance to your life, of that huge, genuine love, I can't.
Right.
So she's like, you're picking people who, that's never a risk.
Yeah.
You're picking people who you actually don't respect that much, and actually they wouldn't be, as much as you tell yourself like, oh my God, they're so incredible and I love them and they're like, they're expendable to you.
Yeah.
They're get overable. From the off, they're get overable because it's never going to risk that thing.
Yeah, but I think when I was younger, it was easier.
Yeah.
Like, I think back about relationships and I'm like, oh, it's the same person. I've dated the same person with varied talent, and some are really good at teaching me how to play football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they have cones, and that's how you can tell.
Yeah, and they had the goals that stick into the.
Oh my God, he had those pop-up goals.
Yeah.
Katie.
Oh my God.
Sorry, you missed that bit out. I wouldn't
know.
have taken the piss out of Nathan if I knew he had pop-up goals with him.
We're meeting up next week. Okay, cool. Oopsie. Hey.
You're gonna get him to write on your mirror.
Yeah. Hey, I've DM'd him. I'm looking for another session.
Do you still have those cones?
I think. Wait, what was I saying?
About patterns, about you dating the same person.
Oh yeah, it's always the
again.
same person, and it's like it's the same degree of everything, but it just gets harder. I think as you get older, because you get more. You're like, oh, this is me.
Yeah.
I think it's like I it's not gonna work out, and then you expose yourself to somebody, and you're like, well, it has to work out now because I was told him the truth. Or like
That's vulnerable. Those are the rules.
Those are the rules.
If you're vulnerable, then they stay.
Yeah.
They aren't though.
They're no way. I beg on. I'm like, please.
I know.
Please love me. Like, why is it so hard?
I know.
And then they're like, that's disgusting.
I know, but I think the thing is, what we went to is that we it's not. What does that Queen Brené Brown say? Vulnerability without boundaries is just recklessness, or whatever it is. Like you have to, because you can be vulnerable to your best mates, and that's never a problem in your family and that. But it's that's your audition piece, isn't it? Like that's your audition piece. It's like, but look how broken and scarred and incredibly like wounded and beautiful and like filmic I am. And then they're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I thought I was just your football coach. Do you know what I mean? Like I think that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just so, what a weird, and like talk back on that quote about the loving with all your intelligence. It's like, when that's what gets me. Because when, I don't like when people, like I'm not smart, but I'm not.
What? UCLA and double masters Katie Green. You're like, oh, that's smart.
No, I'm like, I can do, like academically, I can do well, even though academically I really struggled. But I did what I had to do. Whereas I don't like when people question my intelligence on certain things. It makes me, it's like I have a really big chip on my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I have friends being like me, like telling, I haven't seen in a while, or telling like a story of dating or whatever, and then being like, you're smarter than that. It's like, oh my God, I'm fucking dumb. I'm so dumb. I'm a dumb girl to be accepting this. Like I'm stupid. I'm like, and that for me.
But we know this. Like we've talked about this so much. How many our girlfriends who are ridiculously intelligent and ridiculously capable and successful in their chosen careers, a boy comes and like you're literally sat that. One of my best mates once mailed a toastie to someone. Mailed, like in the post, a ham and cheese toastie to someone. Because she was like, she was like, oh, it's kind of like an in joke about like this one time we went out, we got dinner and I had a toastie and like this was, and I was like, what? I was like, how did you feel? How did mailing a ham and cheese toastie to this person go? And she was like, no, it didn't. I mean, not well. And you're like, this is an incredibly intelligent girl, like a very, very talented girl. And you're like, but in that moment, she was like, this is all that can be done. This is all that can be done is like, I must mail a ham and cheese toastie to someone. Same as me going on my 2-for-1 gourmet burger kitchen. You know, you're like, this I must do. Yeah. I must have a half price burger. Yeah. That he may or may not even pay for that half. Yeah. I don't know if he will. We might split. Did he pay? Can't remember. I mean, I hope so. Yeah. I don't know though. I wouldn't be surprised if he did not. What is that? Like super smart up here, but then what is the thing?
Oh, I think it's that instinct. I was listening to a podcast, and they were talking about just how the women are getting smarter, like in higher education sense, and men are getting dumb. Mm-hmm.
Okay, was that the official tagline?
That was it. That's what the research said. And what's happening though is like it's this like displacement and this like what's going on. Whereas all these women are really, really qualified for lots of things, or they're focusing on their career or whatever. And then they get to a point where they're like, want to settle down or whatever. And men don't have to worry about that in the same degree. And also it's not, I think the average man, like I don't know. I think
it's thought versus action. Like I remember being with all the boys and like my kind of comedy peers in Chicago. And I mean, part of the reason I'm trying for a baby by myself is I'm 36 this year. I have never, ever been with anyone that I genuinely was like, this would be a brilliant person to co-parent with. This would be a brilliant person to bring children into the world with. And I've been in long-term relationships. I've just never thought that really about them. And I remember the boys sitting in Chicago and I was already being like, well, you know, with the baby stuff, there's going to be a couple of years at some point in my career where I just have to like take it off. And they were like, then one of the boys turned around, I was like, dude, Bill Burr had a kid when he was like 49. And I was like, well, good for Bill Burr. Yeah. Like, it was just this thing of, it's so far in the distance for them that they're like, why wouldn't you just sit in your pants and play video games all day? Like, where's the fucking rush? What's the issue? And then, we're constantly like, you have to thought, because consequence, my whole thing was like, I'm not going to wake up at 40 and suddenly be like, whoop, I forgot to have kids. I forgot to have children. And I think they genuinely can. Yeah. I remember with my ex, he always had this thing, we were together in our 20s, and he always had this thing of like, not till I'm 35. Like, well, I'll probably be thinking about 35. He just had this number in his head at 35. And he was like, oh, well, I wouldn't be looking at, you wouldn't have kids before 35. He just had this number. And I feel like our entire relationship was him desperately trying to stop me, like almost watering his acorn to make it into an oak tree. Like, he was like, no, it's just an acorn till I'm 35 and I'm ready to pour water on it. He was constantly being like, whoa. Yeah. And I remember saying to him, I was like, Do you think we're joking about the biological clock? Do you think we're joking about it? Like it's like a big scam that we've just come up with and been like, let's trap these boys. Because it's completely the opposite. It's that we just are born knowing this is a thing.
Yeah.
And if we want children, you don't have to. It's just something that at least has to be on the consider table.
Yeah.
It has to be a thought. Whereas I think with them, they're like, I can't imagine thinking about that. And
Yeah.
so I won't.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing because it's something like I feel like the biological clock puts a time frame on everything.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I should be, you want to get married and you want to have a kid and you want to do that all by a certain time. And that time has to be before 40 because that's life. Whereas, and I think that's what makes things like, I feel like women are always like, I wasted my time. Like I think back about like years, I wasted 3 years of my life on somebody. Like what a waste of fucking time.
Do you feel that though? Do you view it as a waste?
Yeah.
You branded it as a waste.
I branded it as a full-on waste of time because I spent 3 years trying to convince somebody that I was worth it. That 3 years of time was just every single time I try to convince somebody that I'm worth it and I'm convinced myself I'm not.
Yeah.
So it's like deeper and deeper into this whole
right. So actually, you wouldn't even say like the lessons you took from it were positive because actually the unpacking you've now got to do of I've embedded myself in 3 years of failing to audition for this role and being told repeatedly no.
Right. And I think it's like whereas in LA it was different because I feel like there would be more distractions. Yeah. Or I had more overlap in LA. Yeah. Like the guy before I moved here, it was same stuff. He was like on Tinder and I didn't know or whatever. And that was easy. I was like, called him. I was like, look, I found out this is done. Yeah. Bye. Yeah. And that was it. Yeah. And I'm like, I can't imagine like every time I say no, like say, this is it. This is no more. No more. I'm not talking to you anymore. Okay. Bye. Yeah. It's like 3 days later. So what have you been doing?
Yeah, but then we've talked about this, like the difference between that. For whatever reason, when I was in the States, there was an abundance of men.
Yeah, there.
Are there just? What is that like a shortage of women? I was like just so conscious of always having options.
There are so many options, and also I think American men are just more like robust in the way that
come for you. Like they really like. They let it be known.
Yeah.
So you're aware of your options. Maybe it's that. It's not that there are less. You're so aware of them. Yeah. I was always acutely aware of my options.
Whereas here, I'm like, there's like I think women are so forward here.
Do you think it's because they have to be?
Yeah, but I think it's like it makes men like be like, well, I've got options.
Do you know what I've started realizing over here? Do you think, and it'd be interesting from an outside perspective, do you think more men in England go silent for attention? Like they ignore for attention. So rather than American men would be like, hey, like I remember getting one of the best messages I've ever got being like, hey, I just think you're really hot and awesome and funny and I'd really like to take you out for a drink. And I was like, it's that easy? Like what? Yeah. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I literally couldn't point to a message I've got like that in England. Whereas over here, it's almost attention by absence. Yeah. Than being like, well, I'm not going to like this and I'm not going to talk about this and I'm going to avoid you slightly at a show. And you're like, oh my God, this is... And then you find out afterwards, like, was your attention move?
Yeah. Well, it's so weird because also I think it goes both ways because like, I think there's more, it seems like there's more mind games here. Yeah. Everything is like more...
Subtext.
Yeah. Yeah. Like my friend was telling me like this girl messaged him and like he wasn't responding as much. And then she like messaged him saying, look, I'm not going to reach out to you anymore. And he was like, no worries. And then made her go crazy. Like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, I'm so and it's like, that's the stuff that when men don't react, it's like, fucking do something.
But then it goes one of the ways, because one of our mutual friends was talking to me yesterday and he was like, I was talking to this girl and I just decided I wasn't really on it. Like I didn't really feel it. So I sort of started like stop responding to her text quite as much and letting it go like longer. And then she messaged him being like, oh, do you know what? I'm out. No. And he was like, what? And he's like, I literally haven't stopped thinking about it since.
But that's the thing with girls and boys. I feel like it's like that's everyone does that. The second you want to be the person to like
Final line it.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that's an English thing?
No, I think that's a thing. Like I think that's I don't know why. I don't know because it's really hard to kind of for me to distinguish what's English and what's post-COVID.
Yeah, that's true. Actually,
because
with your timing,
it's the timing is all messed up, and also like the English guys who have experience are like, like not good, like not like, but like even like I think back to like the guys who I dated in LA who could have been so not good. They had every right to be assholes.
yeah,
and
because you kept turning up on their boys' night out.
right.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's like that was an example of a man who had, and I think that's what made me so attracted to him because I'm like, I am being like psychotic, and you're still like
being a good lad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas like here, a guy would be like, "Are you fucking crazy? You're a psycho bitch." Like,
yeah, and actually, all you've done has been like, "Are we still on for Wednesday?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember that one I had when I went on my first ever Hinge date? And this was my omen. This was I finally plucked up the courage to be like, I'm going to do this. Well, I say I plucked up the courage. My best mate made me, and I was like, okay. And I picked someone who looked honestly like it couldn't have gone wrong in the way of like he was perfectly nice, he was outdoorsy, he was nice and tall, he was a New Zealand guy, and I was like, fine.
Yeah.
If anything, he'll be maybe a little bit on the like vanilla side, but like fine. This is a good starting. This is a good starting block for my Hinge adventure. And it was so boring within 11 minutes that I was like, I actually might throw myself in the river. Like this is so boring. I'm actually getting that panic that your boring is contagious.
Yeah.
Because I actually can't be boring for what I do in a comedian.
Yeah.
And I'm worried I'm going to catch it.
Right.
Walked around for a bit longer, and at one point, this mad person, like I think she was homeless, but definitely, I'm not allowed to say mad, she's neurodivergent. I had a problem, and sprinting towards me, and you're like, this is weird, and she just ran up to me and just punched me on the arm and goes, "Pussy," and ran off. And he didn't like. My first ever Hinge date, would like to say, and he didn't. Nothing.
Great PR for him.
He didn't do it. React, and I was like, and the gay guys behind me were like, "Oh my god, that's fucking," and I was like, "I know." I was like, "Did everyone just see that?" They were like, "That was so random," and I was like, "I know." This guy didn't. He just sort of stood there and waited till I'd finished, like panic, like fluffing about the fact that I'd been punched on the arm by a homeless person and called a pussy. Waited till I was obviously like done with that, and then just carried on his story about the stag do he'd been on, and I was like. Does this happen to you quite a lot? Like, are you often on Hinge dates where the person you're with gets punched in the arm and called a pussy by a homeless person, and you're just like, oh, classic. Yep, 17 minutes into this date, that's about right, and just cracked on. I was like, or are you so boring? Are you a person who is so boring that actually when something like this happens, it's like the computer shuts down. It's like, well, this computer says no. Do you know what I mean? You almost don't register it because how could you possibly? Yeah, this doesn't happen in your life of stag do's and Clapham. Do you know what I mean? And I remember talking to my friends, I was like, that's it. That's my omen. Like the universe sent me a mad person to punch me on the arm, call me a pussy on this Hinge date. But it was exactly that. I was like, there's not even any like spark of like, that could have been an excellent second half of the day. Yeah. Considering that was what had happened to me was so out of
it could have been like an event, or it could have been
an
like
event, but it wasn't. It was just like, oh, this is a minor inconvenience because I had a really good bit about my last stag do that I really wanted to tell this girl. It was ungodly.
That's God, what a bad omen.
Yeah, I know. It did continue though. It didn't really get better. Do you remember that Brazilian guy I went on a date with? Yeah. And I was like, this is actually going quite well. Like he was actually quite fun. It helped that I'd had 94 margaritas, but it was going really well. And then he tried to get me back to his house, and I hadn't shaved my legs, and I was like, I'm not, I'm a classy girl. And he goes to me, he goes, all of the women I've ever slept with, they would say I'm in their top 5.
There's nothing that would turn me off more.
I was like, sorry. And even in my state, I was like, just to be absolutely clear, so of all the women you've ever slept with, you were in all of their top 5. I was like, I just want to know when the survey got taken. Do you know what I mean? Like, like after, when he's like putting on his pants afterwards, he's like, hey, before I leave, can I just get like a 1 to 5 of like, what's my podium on you? Like, does he message them afterwards with like a doodle? Like those Google forms being like, where would you put me? Like, it is, and I was like, after that point, you're like, there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way. You're
Yeah. Also,
top
like,
5. It's not even a brag. Top 5?
No, top 5 isn't a brag.
Top 5 could be like the ones I remember.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah, that's so interesting. That also, what a thing to say. Because I would say like, oh, it's top whatever, like top 5. That's embarrassing.
that's top. Yeah, a top 5.
And what was your response to that?
I think that's when I said I hadn't shaved my legs and I had to go home. I'm not. You can't.
So
not the
things like
first
that.
time.
So what I had this in college where when
Yeah.
there was a guy who was cocky,
Yeah.
I would love to do like to really
This hand action is
this. I'd love to like break their ego.
Oh wow.
I used to be really any guy who thought
did it
they could
work?
sleep with me, I wouldn't.
So you went for the guy, and thus you went for the guys who showed absolutely no signs of.
Yeah, but it made them go crazy.
Yeah, of course
I
it
had
did.
one guy like messaging me loads after, and was like, "This has never happened to me. Everyone always wants me. This is so weird. Nobody like this is so. Why did you go?" And da 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 da. And I'm like,
I just don't.
I love breaking egos. Like it's so
Yeah,
fun.
but then you go for them.
Yeah. I go for them. It's a really weird thing, because when someone goes in cocky, I'm like, you're disgusting.
Yeah.
You are what's wrong with society.
Yeah, good.
But then
yeah, they love that. That's
There's
the best talk.
a window that people have.
Yeah.
Small window where like I get in before I realize their full
Yeah.
extent, and then it'll make me like anytime a sentiment of like, oh, my mom's not well. Oh my god.
Oh, she's in. Yeah.
Oh my
in.
god, I have to be your mother.
She loves a broken boy.
I love a broken
Yeah,
boy.
We
I
all
love
love a broken
Oh,
boy.
man.
We have to stop that.
Yeah.
That's chaos.
That's really bad.
But why is that? Like, what is that? Because we don't love it. We're broken boys, like what gets kind of like you get into it and you get a bit like not obsessive, but like in. But then
Yeah.
it's also the thing that down the line you're like, ugh.
Yeah, well, it's a child. It's
Yeah.
having a responsibility. Like, because when you're with a broken boy,
That you're needed.
it's you're needed, but you're like nonstop. Like when I've been with broken boys, which is most of the time, if they phone, I'm like, I've got to go. I'm so sorry. I've got to
Yeah.
take this phone call because he could be really upset right now, or this could be the moment where he actually tells me how he feels.
Oh my God, Katie,
could
I
be.
left my mum's birthday for one of those phone calls. I left my mother's birthday
Yeah.
for one of those phone calls because I was like, he is spiraling. He's in a really bad place.
Yeah, and I've messed like loads of like holidays or just time away. I'm like, I'm gonna go on vacation,
Yeah.
and then I'm like in the hotel. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Are you there? Okay. What happened? What happened
Yeah.
today? Oh, it's bad open
Yeah.
mic. Oh no. Oh. Somebody wasn't funny. Oh, okay. Oh, I needed to hear that.
Yeah.
I needed to hear it.
So my one when I left my mum's birthday, because he was like, I'm just in a really bad, can we call later after the show? I was like, yeah. Left my mum's birthday. I was walking home down Oxford Street, and I was calling. I was like, are you all right? I just want to check. He was like, oh yeah, we actually all ended up going out for drinks after the show. And you like, I remember being on Oxford Street being like, Hatty, Preston, like, if this isn't the moment, I actually don't know what is. But it was you're a lunatic. Like you're like, I'm a lunatic.
Yeah.
And I can't go back.
Yeah.
And then be like, I thought it was an emergency. Be like, yeah, me too. Turns out the emergency is me. We need an intervention now. Like, lock me up.
That is, and you know,
Sure.
but it's the worst. I just think it's so difficult, because I think it's like when you think someone needs you, you're like, oh my God, I got to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I remember like just being in LA, like pulling off the side of the road to, I'm like, oh yeah, no big deal. I'm just on the 5. Okay. Yeah. So you miss your ex? Oh, that's sad. Okay. Oh wow. Okay. Baby, no worries. Emergency.
Usually on the hard shoulder of the highway,
I'm
being like, sorry, emergency.
Yes.
This is his ex.
Hazard lights on. The hazard is me.
Oh.
It's like oh my God. I take every phone call, take every fucking. I remember looking for service in Machu Picchu. Like, what the fuck? Hello. That's so weird.
Just like, what is going on?
Higher up in the towers? Hello.
Oh, is no one in Machu Picchu in love? Oh,
He needs me.
just waving a Shrek blanket like, I'm here. Was that?
I don't think I have murder in me. I have
No, because
like,
you haven't got the planning.
yeah, no, I have like ruin your vehicle.
Yeah, you do.
I have.
You've got key your car.
Yeah.
And,
Oh no, I have like.
Have you done it? Have you worked alone?
I think some stuff.
Yeah.
They were already gonna get a paying job.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It was a knocker. Yeah.
No, I have.
You do. You have that.
I
You
have
like hot. You'd go like hot blood. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'd go in like yeah.
Yeah, I blame like that Carrie Underwood song. Think before he cheats.
Before he cheats.
Yeah.
I love that song.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Absolutely. Dug my keys into the side of his
yeah.
four-wheel drive. Yeah. And then there's the one,
man.
and then there's the other song she has about there's two women killing that man because they found out about each other. Other car? No, the other, the one at the funeral, and the videos at the funeral. Two black Cadillacs.
Oh, I don't know
send
that
it to you.
song.
It's like for me that gets me into feminism. That's when women are at their best, when they join forces to murder a man who's lied to them both.
Well, you know that Goodbye Earl from the Chicks.
Oh yeah.
That's it. Oh, that's where they murder him.
Do you think that's where feminism's going wrong? It's too much about loving everyone and equality, and actually, if they focus it more on vengeance, it'd be more exciting.
Don't you think it is a bit? There is so much anger, I think, toward men. I just think that women don't really know how to fully like.
I think I'd rather not get paid the same, but if a male boss was rude to me, I was allowed to key his car.
Yeah,
I'd be absolutely fine on that trade.
I would just want to feel what it's like to have power.
Yeah.
Like to walk into a room and be like.
So do you think you'd be able to take a pay cut if you could slap men on the asses as you walk past them?
No, I'd want to like. I wouldn't want to.
No, you wouldn't want to touch him.
No, what would I want to do? I'd want to. If I would take a pay cut if every evil man was 5'2".
Good.
Like
yeah.
I'd want to be like,
if they were too arrogant, they shrunk to 5'2".
oh yeah,
that's a good one. Okay,
yeah.
so if they got
it's
two
like
of
Pinocchio.
Reverse Pinocchio. So every time they get a little bit cocky, every time a male comedian gets over 50,000 followers and thinks it means that they're a better person, they shrink to 5'2".
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And nothing against short guys, but everything against short guys.
Nothing against our short kings. And like if the booker who puts you on an all-male lineup and you're the only person who isn't paid, he shrinks to 5'2".
Yes, either they shrink to 5'2" or their hairline goes back a centimeter. That would be I love
that's
a man
good.
with
when it starts going.
Oh, and the
ball patch.
Yeah, or just the the bent what's it called, the I can't think of words right now, the bent up the
pent up
yeah like there's something there the fury of a man who's got a receding hairline and doesn't know what to do about it. I'm just like, oh God.
I think when a male booker messages you back in full caps saying that you have to be at the gig 45 minutes for your stage time, he gets an automatic comb over.
Yeah. Oh,
automatically his hair just disappears and it has to comb it over. Right, what I think on that, actually, we can finish it because we've solved everything. This isn't even Unhinged. That's genius.
That's genius.
That's Unhinged. That would make, though, that set of universal law would feel like justice. And I think that we wouldn't then feel unhinged.
Yeah. I'd love that.
Oh.
And then when that happens, then a line goes away.
Oh, wow. One line, like
One of these, like,
they go back or down, and we get one less.
Yeah, the boobs come up. It's like
one less. Yeah, one more like.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking justice.
Yeah,
that's where feminism needs to start focusing its energies, because I don't, Yeah, that's brilliant. Right, well, we found it. Katie Green, you've been exactly the guest I knew you'd be.
Thank you for having me, Hatty.
Love you so much.
Love you.
Thank you for joining us. Bye.
Bye.